How I escaped an armed robbery. Yes, a literal armed robbery at gunpoint. And this, by the way, is a true story. It is 100% true. This actually happened to me where I was literally stuck in this grocery store while an armed robbery was happening and I had to escape and save my life. Now, this happened a bit of a while back. It was back when I was still playing ball, um, and I was in my late 20s, from what I remember. And so this happened in San Francisco, not far from where I was living at the time. It happened at a grocery store. It was an Albertsons back then at this time. It's now a Lucky's. It's still there. It's off a Sloat Boulevard in San Francisco. But it was an Albertsons at that time. And normally, the funny thing is, I rarely went to that Albertsons. I would usually go to a Safeway. Um, but the Safeway was not on my way home. It was easier for me to just go to that Albertsons. So I did. And the funny thing is, if I went to that Safeway, none of this would have happened. And I remember quite vividly the Safeway that I did normally go to had a security guard. So there was always a security guard up at the front. Whereas at this Albertson, there was no security guard at the front. Maybe that's why they targeted this grocery store. But in any case, this happened close to midnight. So this happened. They used to close at midnight. So I had a football game that day or that night. It was a night game, so I was coming from that, and I was driving home. And so by the time I was getting close to home, it was close to midnight. So I remember I was trying to hurry because I wanted to make it to the grocery store because I wanted to go in there, at least get a snack for myself because, I just played this game and I was pretty hungry. I was pretty tired. I hadn't had time to eat, and I was just like, I want to get something, right? I wanted to get something. I was still wearing my my football pants at the time, right? Because it was kind of a late game for me. Right, it was one of those like night games that started like 7 p.m. and it really didn't wrap up till about 10:30, and it was way over in the East Bay. And by the time the game was over, it was pretty cold. I didn't even want to shower. I'm like, I'll do this when I get home. I just want to grab my stuff and go and get some food on my way back. So now that I got that set up, I was going home and I still had my football pants on. So I stop at this Albertsons and I park. And I was like, look at my watch. I'm like, okay, cool. Got a few minutes. And I like ran inside. And even as I ran inside, I remember the checker at the front going, oh, hey, you only have a few minutes. We're going to be closing up. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. And then there were a handful of people in there, right? There were at least, from what I remember, like at least 5 or 6 people. Most of them were up front paying for their items because they were going to lock the doors and close. So I'm like, okay, I better hurry here. And I remember I went into one of the aisles. I think I was getting some ice cream. I just wanted like a little pint of ice cream. And I'm reaching in there, getting the ice cream. I'm trying to hurry. I know they're about to close. And as I'm grabbing the ice cream, I like literally started hearing like a lot of commotion. And I heard a few screams. I mean, it was like Die Hard in there, right? I felt like I heard a few screams. And I look over I had the what do you call that? The door open to grab my ice cream. I look over and I see 4 guys like covered from head to toe with shotguns going, everybody freeze, nobody move, don't move, you stay right there. And I was like, is this seriously happening? I mean, it was almost just surreal. It's like, you just don't believe this is happening. And for me, I mean, even though I was in my late 20s, I was like tired, right? I just played this whole football game. It was cold. It was wet, rainy. I mean, I just was like, wanted to get my snack and go home, right? I was just exhausted, right? It had been a long day. The game was all like way out in the East Bay. And I just wanted to go home, just get my food and go home. But now I'm like, great. These dudes are holding up the place. Immediately when that happened, believe it or not, I didn't really have time to panic. I was more like in survival mode. So I was more concerned about like, okay, how do I get out of here? right? So if you ever find yourself in a situation like this, by the way, um, if you have just natural survival instincts, chances are you just won't panic because you don't have time to panic, right? You'll just be thinking about like, get me out of here. I need to like flee the situation. So that's what I did, man. I've like quietly closed that ice cream door. I didn't grab anything, and I remember I started like running backwards because I didn't. I mean, I think they started checking the aisle, so I started running backwards, and I mean, fortunately, where the aisle that I was in that had all the desserts and the ice cream and all the cold foods, the frozen foods I should say, the door that they usually do all the stocking at, like in the back of the grocery store, it was like right there. So literally, like as soon as I ran backwards, I escaped that way and I started running towards the back. And as I'm running towards to go to the back, I see one woman running towards me, right? So one woman realized what was going on. I think she was probably in her late 30s at that time, maybe early 40s. But she saw me running towards the back, and I was like, right? And she was like, and so I run towards the back. I run into the back where they do all the stocking, and then she follows me, and we're trying to find our way out of there. And literally, I remember I grabbed her hand, right? So kind of like hero mode, right? I remember I grabbed her hand and she grabbed mine and she grabbed really tightly. She was freaked out. Like she was panicked, right? And I remember I grabbed her hand. I was like, this way, and I was like, just come with me. And so I helped lead her towards the back, right? And I found we end up finding the back pretty quickly, right? Or it seemed pretty quick. Maybe it took a little longer, but from my memory, it seemed like we found the back pretty quickly to escape. So we go out the back door, and I remember once I kicked the back door open, like the alarm sounded, and I'm like, oh shit, right? The alarm sounded. I'm like, how do we get out of here? And I was like trying to open like the next door to get us to the parking lot, and it was chained. We could not get out of there. And fortunately, the wall wasn't that tall, but it was tall enough to where, I mean, I knew I could get over it, but she probably couldn't. So she was like, oh my God, don't leave me. And I'm like, I'm not, calm down, And I remember I jumped on the wall because she thought I was leaving her once I jumped up the wall, right? But I was like, I can't, I didn't want to push her up. I thought it'd be faster if I just jumped on the wall and pulled her up, right? So I jumped on that wall, and I was kind of had my legs in between, like, the pillar was like in between my legs, and I was balancing myself while I grabbed her by both hands and I pulled her up, and she was able to clasp onto the wall and just slowly like put her leg over and fall down outside to the parking lot, which she did. And then she just runs off, doesn't say thank you, doesn't try to help me. She just takes off, this bitch. She just takes off on me. And fortunately, like I basically went over too, and I heard the footsteps. So they were coming towards the back, right? At least one of them were coming towards the back, probably with their shotgun, and be like, no, get back in here. But I was able to jump back over. She ran one way and I ran the other way. That way, I'm like, if they get one of us, they'll probably get her because she's slower, right? And I just bolted. I bolted back towards the front of the parking lot. Crazy enough, I could have bolted towards the street, but I didn't because it was pretty cold and I wanted to get back to my car, right? So I bolted back to the parking lot to the front of the store, which was locked, and I jumped in my car, and I got to the nearest payphone and I called 911. And I just told them, hey, I was part of this robbery, and these guys that came into the Albertsons over on Sloat Boulevard, they're armed, they have shotguns, there's 4 of them, and they're covered from head to toe. And like the dumb operator's like, do you know what nationality they are? I go, they're covered from head to toe. And she's like, okay, are they white, black, Asian? I'm like, they're covered from head to toe. I don't know. They're wearing gloves. I can't see skin color. They just came in. I was at the back. I helped another woman escape, and I'm free. And then the operator goes, are you okay? And I'm like, I just said I'm free and I'm fine. but you should probably send somebody over there because they're being held up right now and they've got the doors locked and they might shoot them. She's like, okay, which one again? I'm like, oh my God. Sloat Boulevard, Albertsons, the grocery store. You know, I was starting to scream at this chick because I was like, are you that stupid? Just send somebody, you know. And so she goes, okay, sir, okay, will you meet us back there? I mean, she just asked the dumbest questions ever. Like, will you meet us back there? I'm like, I ain't going back there. I'm not going there. What if it's a hostage situation? What if they've got people outside? What if people in the parking lot? I'm like, I am not going back out there. Okay, I'm not going back out. And I remember at that point, I forgot what happened. I don't even remember giving this lady my name or anything. I might have even just hung up on her. But she said, okay, we're on it. We're going to get, I have officers en route right now. And I think that's when she was like, all right, will you be there? I'm like, no, I'm not going back there, you know? So in any case, after that happened and I got off the phone with her, I didn't get my food. So fortunately, where I made the call was in front of a 7-Eleven. And I went to that 7-Eleven and got myself some nachos and a soda. And I went home. So I still went home and I ate. And I didn't even really think about it. I just went to sleep. I didn't have any nightmares. And I woke up the next day and it was kind of an afterthought. And I remember I didn't even bother to tell my parents about it because I didn't want them to worry. And I didn't want to tell anyone else because I didn't want anyone to flip out or freak. I think I told some of my friends and they thought it was like crazy. Like, wow, are you serious? At Albertsons, I go there. You know, but I didn't really tell any family or my sisters or anything or brothers because I just didn't want them to worry. And it was really no big deal. I was safe. I got out. I wasn't harmed. And I mean, back then there was no social media. There was no like internet, mainstream internet at least. So I didn't really follow up on the story. And I'm sure, hopefully, everybody lived because there was no way for me to follow up and like Google this. There was no Google yet. So I don't know what happened, but I hope everybody lived. I hope nobody got killed. But I made it out of there, and I helped this other woman escape as well. And of course, like I said, she didn't even say thank. I mean, I'm not faulting her. Maybe she was just too freaked out, too panicked. But at least say thank you. At least look back and make sure I got out. Right? But no, just like bolted. Yeah. And the funny thing is too, I do vividly remember grabbing her hand and like leading her like towards the back. And because she had like no sense of direction, she was like, which way? I was like, just come with me. Right. And I remember when that woke Star Wars came out like 5 or 6 years ago. And I think like, it was like one of the characters, black dudes, like grabs a girl's hand. She's like, let go of my hand. Let go of my hand. I don't need your help. And I laughed my ass off at that because I'm like, I was in that exact situation. And that chick was not going, let go of my hand. She was like holding on to me for dear life. And I'm like, yeah, there's a big difference between movies and real life, baby. In real life, you definitely need guys to help save you. You know, don't do this like Mary Sue. Garbage on me. But in any case, she lived and I lived, and as far as I know, we were the only two that made it out of the store, and everybody else got held up at gunpoint in the front. And I'm sure I probably would have heard on the news if there were any murders, but I think they were just there to steal money out of the cash registers. Hopefully that was all. But I continue to go back to that Albertsons if I was in that area. I preferred Safeway at that time, but it didn't stop me from shopping there. And I mean, I always was concerned because they never actually did hire a security guard to just be at the front. So, but I'm sure if they did, that dude probably would have got axed as soon as these robbers came in. But yeah, it was a crazy situation, crazy scenario. Didn't stop me from going in there, and I just moved on with my life. And you know what? If you live long enough, you're going to have crazy shit like this happen in your own life where you're going to be in these crazy situations that are almost like a movie, and you're just going to have to stay calm and worry about your survival, right? There's no time to panic. No time to panic in these situations. And definitely, if you have an opportunity to make a run for it, do it, okay? Just make a run for it. Because we could have easily been like, oh no, we're caught. Let's just go up to the front with our hands up. And I was like, screw that, man. I don't know what these dudes are capable of. I'm bolting. I'm going for it. So you might find yourself in these same situations, you know, at some point in your life, or maybe you've already been in them, right? But you can't let them hold you up, because life is full of craziness. Life is full of adventure, especially if you grew up in a big city like I did, because this happened in San Francisco. And obviously right now crime is rampant in San Francisco. But when I grew up, I mean, I grew up in the city, so I was kind of like used to craziness. So this didn't really, you know, it didn't really shock me too much. I mean, I told my girl about it not that long ago, and she grew up in the suburbs, so she's like, oh my God, you know. And I was just kind of like, well, yeah, we all lived, it's fine. You know. But in any case, that's what you're going to deal with as you get older. You might find yourself in these ridiculous situations where you're just trying to get a snack coming home from your little football game, and these bastards hold the place up with shotguns, and they pull an armed robbery when you're just trying to get some ice cream. You know, life is just weird like that sometimes, right? And it happens. So if you've had anything similar happen, share them in the comments below. But that is how I escaped an armed robbery and lived to tell about it. Yeah, and I really hope that those other people who got held hostage were able to live as well, and nothing happened to them. I don't think it did. Again, I think I would have read about it in the news, or it would have been in the paper, but I didn't see anything like that, and haven't heard anything like that happen since. So all's well that ends well. But if you've been in any crazy situations like that you want to share below, share them below. If you've been part of any armed robbery, or you were like in a bank or something and some jackasses came in and tried to hold it up, drop your comments below. What happened? Share your story, or any other crazy stories you have. I mean, you know, sometimes these are fun to tell and fun to read, but this actually happened, man. 100% true story. Probably the craziest thing that's happened in a long time. But yeah, I don't wish for any any repeat adventures. But yeah, it's just in this insane situation, and maybe other things have happened since. Well, not that to that level, but to me, nothing really surprises me anymore, so I don't really keep them in my memory. But I was still pretty young at that time. I was like, again, in my late 20s, and I'm just trying to get home from my football game, man. And that's like the last thing I expected to happen. I was like, cool, I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna get my chocolate chip ice cream, maybe some chips and a soda, and I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna enjoy this and, you know, prepare for my next game. Instead, I go in there, and bastards like run in there, like 4 of these jackasses run in there with shotguns and ski masks and holding everyone up, and I'm like, really? Is this really happening? Insane. But drop your comments below. Let me know if you've had anything similar happen, any crazy stories you want to share. And as always, this is M, also known as Matt Cross, from AlphaMaleSecrets, signing out. Don't forget to smash that like button below. Go ahead and smash it right now. Also, hit that notification bell right next to it so that you're notified whenever I release a brand new coaching video here on the YouTube. More importantly, guys, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. Helps me out a ton when you actually subscribe to my channel. So please make sure you subscribe as well. Okay, and for you guys who want to support my work and all of this incredible content that I am teaching you here on my AlphaMaleSecrets channel, the best way to do that is by becoming a premium subscriber of my premium AlphaMaleSecrets channel, which I am hosting on a private platform away from YouTube, and I'm doing that for obvious reasons. That's to protect my content from YouTube in the event that they ever try to shut me down. I will always have my premium content available on my premium channel because I am paying to be on this other platform. And this is the absolute best way to support my work. So if you love what I'm doing here, I would really appreciate it if you become a premium subscriber of my premium AlphaMaleSecrets channel. And right now, it's only $1 for the entire first month of premium AlphaMaleSecrets content from me. So take advantage of it. Who can't afford $1? All you have to do is click that link below in my description box. It will take you over to my website where you could get signed up right now. It just takes 2 seconds. So do that now, and I will see you in my next coaching video. I'm out.